Hi guys, we are so excited today to have Jay Latta. Hi Jay, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm great. Everything's excellent on my side.
Perfect. So Jay is joining us all the way from Munich, Germany today, and he's going to be talking about angel investment and his investment philosophy in general. I think that is something that I found to be very unique and interesting. We've met actually online as well through mutual connections, and yeah, so Jay has worked with a couple of our other investors, and I believe that his take on where the world is going and where startup and investment is going is something that is super interesting for us to all learn. So, without further ado, Jay, why don't you tell us about why you got into the investment game and when you first got into to be an investor?
The why is very simple because let's say it like this. I'm a very egoistic person. So I have a specific vision of a future where I would like to live in. So I'm trying to find all the necessary pieces to help to build this future. So everything that I think should be repaired, I'm doing all possible to make it happen.
That is wonderful. And when did you first get started? Tell us about your very first investment.
My very first investment was 15 years ago.
Okay.
15 years ago, helping a friend to build his own business. This was really something invested directly into this business. It was far away from any kind of tech stuff. It was a delivery service. And this was kind of an experience that if you can afford it, you can help someone to build his own life around to really do something meaningful. And this was so catchy that then I started whenever I've been in the position simply to support. And now during the time being more present, more available, VCs or family offices are hiring me to find the proper startups for their own portfolios. Startups hire me to find the proper investors, which is very challenging in these strange times right now.
Mhm.
But my philosophy, or according to my philosophy, I'm very picky with my clients, with the startups, and of course with the investors. I'm not doing things only for money.
That's great. And actually, in the past week, when I was talking to somebody, and this famous quote came up, work like you don't need the money. And you were actually the first person that came to mind when thinking about this kind of a quote, because you're really seeing a broader picture. And that's one of the things that I admire about you is your ability to vision what the future should look like and what you kind of want it to look like, which is great. So going back to how you pick certain startups and certain investors to work with, are there certain underlying themes that are attracting to you and certain things that you target, or and vice versa, are there red flags that you just kind of stay away from?
I believe into business ecosystems. So I'm collecting, according to my vision, these small puzzle pieces to make them fit. This is also what I recommend when I'm advising some corporates how to reshape their own innovation labs and stuff like this, to explain them the idea behind these ecosystems. I'm a huge fan of collaboration, cooperation. We don't need to reinvent the wheel again and again. So this is also where, if it fits, if it is in this line, if there are supportive or synergetic strains, this is where I'm hopping into and supporting. One example, everyone is right now interested into charging stations, into electric vehicles, into electric mobility, future of mobility, yada, yada. It is a huge driver right now. But it's far more than this. When we talk about mobility, it's not just a coffin on four wheels. I came from the automotive, so this is something really that drives me. Mobility is to split it into urban mobility, rural mobility, pleasure mobility is also a kind of mobility, vacation mobility. How will this change? And you need to see these interconnected strengths.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So you kind of don't ask, hey, what are you going to do next year? You need to ask, what are you going to do in 10, 20 years? And what is kind of the greater impact? And so speaking of impact, I know that there's been a lot more people using this word in general. And I know that as a visionary type of investor, I would love to hear what is your definition of how can you impact the world? And, what does it mean to you?
It means a world where I would like to live. This is my personal vision. Look, I'm born during the communistic era in Czechoslovakia, former Czechoslovakia.
Right.
In communism, socialism, however you will call it, this failed system, it was a bet onto the future. So the people had to motivate you to trust into the future, to go into something, the times will become better. So the science fiction of these Eastern sci-fi authors is more positive. It's an optimistic outlook. The Western one is more dystopian. We are fighting about resources, everyone is dead, zombies, yada, yada, all of this nonsense. So this is something that really left huge dents in my philosophy that really impacted me. So I call myself a positivist. I'm not an optimist. Optimist is something passive. Positivism is something I really go and do my part of this future, leaving to quote Steve Jobs, leaving a dent in the universe.
Yeah. And I'm sure that actually a lot of people do ask you about the profit question all the time because they love to do that. But our audience especially is made up of a lot of first-time startups that are looking for funding for the first time. So in terms of their thinking sometimes when you're looking for funding for the first time and it comes to investors of profit first, short term versus long term kind of vision, and then some people are probably asking you, well, aren't investors looking for a certain amount of profit at a certain rate and things like that? What is your typical answer to them? Because I'm sure you get asked this question as often as we do.
As first, I start to laugh. This is really something. Different startups reach out to me. Startups like, for example, that are building this idea. They are really pre-seed. They are really at a very, very early stage. For these guys, come on, how should I charge them? So mostly supporting these ideas, helping them to get this diamond out of a piece of coal. Mm-hmm. We will find an agreement. If they are more advanced, if they reach out to me because they need seed or Series A, then of course they are a bit more experienced. We are talking a different language. Mm-hmm. It really depends on the service that they need. Is it just to open my address book and connect them with people? Then it looks slightly different than if I have to review their pitch decks, help them to formulate this, maybe even create a vision. Startups are essential for our society. These guys are brilliant in what they are doing. They just can't sell themselves.
Well, I can see that you definitely have this broad range to be able to help a mass amount of people through your passion as well, which is great. So my last question is, as of course, you know that we are new investors onto the scene. And so I always like to ask veteran investors this question, which is, what was your biggest failure as an investor and what did you learn from that?
My biggest failure as an investor was a startup with too many people involved in. When you are looking at a table in your negotiations and there are sitting 7 people in front of you, they are not talking about this one thing. It was kind of the sense here, or the essence out of this, which I figured out too late. It was not about passion. It was about, let's build something, polish it, so we can sell it very easy, which is totally destructive because you need a totally different a different marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You need totally different people. And just to think with these diploma economists, whatever people around there that might be super helpful in Roland Berger or McKinsey, not really great investors or
Okay.
inventors. And being there, it cost me a lot of money.
So kind of, so your tip would be to take a closer look at the people at the table and make sure there
Yes.
aren't too many cooks in the kitchen, as we like to say it in North America.
Exactly. You need
Okay.
also out of these larger groups,
Mm-hmm.
you need to invest your own time into individual talks with them,
Yeah.
really to figure out how is the team dynamics,
Yeah.
what is really their core message, what do they want to achieve. In a large group, you have these silent guys, you have these very loud guys who take over.
Mm-hmm. That's good because it's true. I've seen a lot of startup teams where their minds are really diverging, but some people just never get to speak, and that's the only difference. So that's a very good tip to really just dive deep into the different personalities there. That's wonderful. So thank you so much for the interview. And now we're going to go on to our next segment, which is we're going to play a robot. So because Jay is from Germany, we're going to, as a tribute to Germany, use all German keywords. So we're going to take turns asking Google to see if they can say the magic word. So our first word is Porsche, which is your German car.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay, would you like to go first or do you want me to go first?
Hey Google, tell me a sports car from Stuttgart.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay. Hey Google, what are luxury cars from Germany?
I found a list on the website usedcars.com. 10 best used German luxury cars. Here are the first 5. 2018 Audi A6,
No.
2017 Audi A7, 2017 BMW 3 Series,
It's gonna take forever.
2017 BMW M3, and 2017 BMW 5 Series.
Really? You only
Do you
need
want to hear
2?
more?
No. Okay. You try another one.
Okay. Hey Google, tell me who makes the 911.
The manufacturer of Porsche 911 is Porsche.
Oh, I don't know any of the actual models or specifications. That's a good one. Okay, so our next word is actually right from your hometown, which I have been to for Oktoberfest.
Oh, hell.
So let's see what clue you want to give Google to try and get him to say it.
Hey Google, what is a beer fest in Munich?
According to Wikipedia, the Oktoberfest is the world's largest Volksfest, held annually in...
Hey Google, stop. Very good. Okay, and then the last word, okay, it's gonna sound super American, is beer. Hey Google, what is Guinness? Oh, I really hope it's not thinking about the book.
According to Wikipedia, Guinness is a dark Irish dry stout that originated in the brewery of Arthur Guinness at St. James's Gate, Dublin, Ireland, in 1759. It is one of the most successful alcohol brands worldwide, brewed in almost 50 countries, and available in over 120. Sales in 2011 amounted to 850 million liters.
Google, stop.
Said every word except that word.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey Google, what is in Germany the favorite alcohol?
I found a list on the website tasteatlas.com. What to drink in Germany. Top 10 most popular German spirits and liqueurs.
Oh no.
Here are the first 4. Liqueur. Jägermeister.
Hey Google, stop.
Wolfen-
I knew it was gonna say Jägermeister. I didn't know the other ones. Do you have another good one that you want to try?
Yeah.
Okay, you try.
Hey Google, what does a brewery in Munich make?
On the website lonelyplanet.com, they say 6 big breweries dominate the beer scene in Munich.
Ah, very
Hofbräuhaus,
good.
Löwenbräu.
Hey Google, stop. Very good. You certainly know your country. So that was how you play Hey Robot. So thank you, Jay, so much for coming on to the interview. And now we'd like to ask you about a project or a startup or an investment or any initiative that you're excited about that you would like to share with our audience.
Yes, of course. I've mentioned one of my favorite startups is this Go2U. This Go2U is right now embedded into a larger ecosystem for within the oil industry. I have a project to reshape of this one specific client, their business, to make it future-proof. And turning this into more energy-like, into this clean energy, is something very, very tempting.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. So we are going to actually link that in the description below so you guys can go check it out. And thank you so much, Jay, for your time and for the interview. It was great to have you.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.